Over the last 10 days, there has been a lot of discussion on the first year of the Modi government. The reactions have been predictable. The ruling party has led the way, extolling the achievements of their year in power. The opposition has criticized the government. The news media have put together mark sheets and assessments based on polls or surveys. The conundrum is, how should we, the citizens, gauge the performance of any government? A lot of talk across the spectrum has been about achievements or results. Presumably, these consequences, of which the ruling party is always proud and the opposition always sore, are the result of the actions of the government. The problem with fruits, whether ripe or rotten, is that they are usually a result of many more things and events than mere government action. Take the first few months of the Modi government, when low global oil prices led to decrease in prices across the country. Surely the government couldn't take credit for the lowering of the oil prices. What of the unseasonal rains that added to rural distress and may have made the farmers more anxious of the immediate future than the land ordinance? What of the monsoons, which has at least a percentage point or more impact on the GDP, that holy grail of governments? And yet we tend to look at governments with data that reflect consequences of a complex reality wherein the government's actions are but one variable. Add the business of what is the government's remit and what is the state's, and the net effect becomes even messier. What makes all of this even worse is that the measurable consequences that can be tom-tommed or poo-pooed are usually those that belong to the world of economics and business: output, inflation, employment, stock market indices. But is running the economy the chief task of a government? That is a question that we need to ask. Or is it to provide for an environment in which the citizens live a happy and dignified life? Now, mind you, the problem with both happiness and dignity is that they are not fungible into currency. You cannot put a price on it, not that economists have not tried doing so. But just think, how does one convert a farmer's dignity and comfort that comes from owning a piece of land that has been in the family for generations into a price equivalent? 4 times the present market value for dignity, and 6 times for comfort and security that you have a piece of land. Or only 5 times, since a job is guaranteed for a member of the family. The absurdity of this logic tells us that economic measures will always be wanting in any effort to measure the achievements of an elected government in a democracy. A country is not a joint stock company whose annual report should be measured by top-line growth and earnings per share. The casting of a vote is not the buying of a share based on either expected dividend yield or increase in price. We cannot measure governments in a democracy with an economic balance. We need to see the government's actions with an ethical lens and decide whether they have done right by the citizens in fulfilling their promises, sticking to the positions outlined in their manifestos, and most crucially, living up to the letter and spirit of the Constitution that the elected leaders swore to uphold.